Peter Griffin's love life is absolutely insane. Over the years, he's had steamy affairs with cardboard cutouts, a horse, and even a freaking mermaid.
There's nothing but a fishtail down there. Oh, there we go.
That's not it.
It's gonna be.
In this video, I'm going to be serving you all the tea on Peter's romantic history, from his many exes and second families to how he's pretty much a gay icon now.
I had no idea.
It's a lot, so let's get into it.
Why wouldn't you look at me during?
So let's start all the way back to Peter's childhood and to his very first love. In season 18's Yacht Rocky, Peter is at an aquarium when he locks eyes with another boy, and it was love at first sight. Peter then spends the next 2 years travelling from aquarium to aquarium, desperately hoping to find him again. And eventually they do reunite, after a few decades.
It's me, Lyle, from the other side of the aquarium.
I don't know you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Growing up, Peter joined the wrestling team in order to get much closer to the other boys, and it was revealed in a season 6 episode that he had gay experiences at camp.
I had a gay experience at camp.
we had the radio on and they were talking about some goofy stuff. So what are you guys drinking?
Now, I know canon doesn't always mean much in Family Guy, but I think it is still fair to say that Peter is bi. The show keeps circling back to this part of his identity, so much so that I'll have to go into more about Peter's relationships with men later on in the video, because there's a lot to unpack there.
Are you also married?
But for now, let's talk about his early dating history with women. Because in season 3, Stuck Together, Torn Apart, Peter is pissed when he finds out that Lois had lunch with an old ex. And instead of, actually talking to your wife, Peter decides to get payback by looking up his past girlfriends, with one of them being Brenda.
So, I guess you're married now, huh?
Hey, Ricky, you were right! I was pregnant!
Another ex was Patty, the one from the Peanuts cartoon, but as it turns out, she now has a girlfriend. And then there's Angie, and oh boy, did Peter do a number on her. So Angie was Peter's prom date, and when he ditched her, it completely derailed her life. She became obsessed, decorating her house with pictures of him and refused to wash her hands since the last time they touched. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, she's been keeping his floaters all this time.
Oh well, at least I still have you. You hungry?
I mean, you can make fun of Peter for his looks, intelligence and hygiene all you want, but the fact he's been able to get women to obsess over him even after all these years, as well as bag a baddie like Lois, shows that the guy has to be doing something right. And speaking of his future wife, it wouldn't be until Peter was 18 that he met Lois for the first time, while working at her father's country club. The two end up going to the big dance together, they kiss and fall in love. And you think that's where the story ends, right? Married, kids, happily ever after, but this is Family Guy we're talking about, so nothing is ever that simple or, let's face it, realistic. Because in season 5's Meet the Quagmires, Peter completely wrecks the timeline by travelling to the past and ruining his date with Lois. And because of that one mistake, Lois goes on to marry Quagmire. And as for Peter, he ends up marrying
Molly Ringwald? You're my wife?
We've been married for 20 years. What's wrong with you?
We don't see too much of Peter and Molly together because Peter goes back in time again to undo the damage and reset everything. And thus showing that Peter and Lois truly belong together. Well, kinda. Back before their marriage went to crap anyway. Now I want to quickly pause here and take a moment to say that when I'm not obsessing over the love lives of cartoon characters, I'm writing horror novels about people being murdered in theme parks. And if you say I don't have a life, then you're probably right. And if your New Year's resolution is to read more, then this darkly funny, thrilling ride will keep you guessing on every page. Just search Script to Scream on Amazon for next day delivery. Back to the video though, and funnily enough, considering how the show is now, Peter and Lois were actually very faithful to each other. They were wildly dysfunctional, sure, but underneath all the chaos, they genuinely loved each other. But that doesn't mean that things were perfect, because their biggest crack came in season 3, Stuck Together, Torn Apart, when they go through a trial separation. Like I touched on earlier, the fight started because Lois met up with her ex. They end up in couples counselling, where it suggested that they try a trial separation. Basically a period of time where they live apart and are free to date other people. And the moment Quagmire hears about this, you better believe he wasted no time in asking Lois out.
Our therapist has advised us to date other people. Hey, Lois, you want to go out?
And as for Peter, it's been a long time since he was last on the dating scene, so Mort helps him out by setting Peter up with his niece, actress Jennifer Love Hewitt. And even though she's one of the most attractive actresses in the world, he begrudgingly agrees to go on the date. And he's just about as charming as you'd expect.
Yeah, made lots of room. Hey, wait, that sign in the bathroom about washing your hands, that's only for the staff, right?
But despite being a total pig, Love Hewitt is way into him.
You have got to be the most vile, disgusting human being I've ever met. And I have never been more turned on in my life.
At the same time, at the same restaurant, Lois is on a date with Quagmire, and Lois doesn't appreciate Love Hewitt being all over her man.
Yeah, you better run, you little bitch! I guess I finally understand how you can get so jealous sometimes.
So Peter and Lois get back together despite still being insanely jealous.
Ma'am, you dropped your napkin.
Here's your drink, sir.
Yeah, we'll work on it later.
And in its own way, this is kinda cute. And honestly, it is strange comparing the old Peter and Lois to the modern ones now, who just seem to outright despise each other. And I think this change really began to happen in season 5's Bill and Peter's bogus journey. Because when Peter befriends former President Bill Clinton, the two start spending way too much time together. Clinton turns out to be a terrible influence, so Lois goes to confront him and gives him a piece of her mind. But instead, she gives him something else. Peter catches them in bed together, and to get even, he decides that he wants to sleep with Lois's mother, but he ultimately can't go through with it because despite everything, he still loves Lois too much. But they do eventually end up even anyway when Peter accidentally also finds himself in bed with Bill Clinton. Now for me, this episode really starts to feel like the turning point where the writers start leaning into Peter and Lois's cheating on each other as more of a recurring joke rather than a rare shock moment. And while we're on the subject of Peter sleeping with a man, just one season after this, in the episode Back to the Woods, we find out that Peter has a secret family. And if you're wondering how they have kids, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe they're from his husband's previous marriage, or maybe they're adopted. Either way though, it is clear that Peter seems way happier in this marriage than he does with Lois. Then, just one season after this, we get the episode Family Gay. In order to make some extra cash, Peter agrees to take part in a series of gene-altering experiments, one of which involves the gay gene.
I don't want to take a chance on being gay.
We'll give you $125.
All right, I'll do it.
After getting injected, he goes home and tells his family the big news.
Are you gay?
Guilty!
And at first, everything is surprisingly great for Peter and Lois. He cooks her muffins, compliments her, and even picks cute little outfits out for her. But there's a downside. Peter no longer wants to sleep with her anymore because, well, he's gay.
We can't have sex?
No.
The very next day, Peter announces that he's met someone new.
I'm here, I'm queer, but don't get used to it because I'm leaving you.
What?
Peter quickly moves in with Scott and fully embraces his new life, and honestly, he's thriving.
This is a whole new chapter in my life, Scott. And that chapter is all about you.
Oh, Peter.
Determined to set him straight, Brian and Stewie knock Peter out and send him to a straight camp. And the very first lesson there is beating gay Harry with bats.
No, don't use the bats like that. No, don't use them like that either. All right, look, just put him down and use your fists.
And with Peter missing, a heartbroken Scott asks Lois where he is, and Brian finally comes clean. So Lois shows up to free Peter from the camp, determined to let him live as his authentic gay self. Peter goes back to Scott, and ready to celebrate his return, Scott has already planned an 11-way. And just as they're in the thick of it, Peter's gay gene wears off.
So we're just like never gonna talk about this again?
That's right, sweetie.
And you gotta feel a little bad for Scott here because he seemed to genuinely love Peter and was so distraught when Peter went missing. And even after the gay gene wears off, Peter doesn't suddenly stop sleeping with men because in season 11's Farmer Guy, Peter and Lois plan to meet up in the men's bathroom for some kinky fun, only for a man who looks suspiciously like Lois to meet him instead.
Oh my God! Oh, this is amazing!
And sure, Peter may have thought it was Lois at first, but come on, there's no way he couldn't tell the difference. And yeah, you could just dismiss this as yet again another gay gag, but the show keeps coming back to it, because just one episode later, Peter spots a float of himself at a gay pride event. And in that same season, in the episode No Country Club for Old Men, we get yet another joke implying that Peter is in a relationship with a man.
This has been the gayest vacation I've ever had.
I love smelling me on your breath.
A season after this, in Grim Job, he straight up says that he's bi.
And so, whoever fits in this slipper will be my princess. Or prince. I'm bi.
Then also in season 12, there's a cutaway of Peter undoing his zipper when he thinks he's being hit on by a man. And in season 15's Bookie of the Year, Peter places a bet on Chris to win a baseball game. And if he loses, Peter has to kiss a guy. And even when Chris wins the game, Peter still goes ahead and kisses the man anyway.
But at least I didn't have to pay out all those bets and kiss a guy.
But I saw you kissing the driver of that Camaro.
That was something else.
Then later, in the episode Veterans Guy, Peter christens his boat with a very on-the-nose name. But that's not the end of it, because in season 17 we find out that he fooled around with a guy from work.
Hey Peter, how about that gay encounter we had?
God, every time with this guy. I'm gonna take the stairs.
In season 18's Disney the Reboot, it fully revealed that Peter has sex with multiple men.
Just had a devil's three-way. You know, me and two guys.
I think that's just gay sex.
Pull over by this hot guy and let me out.
And also in season 18's The Movement, we find out that Peter is in a committed relationship with a man. Yep, in this episode, Peter gets hired to make a commercial, and along the way, we discover that he not only has a secret family, but he's also dating a man called Kenneth. When their relationship starts falling apart, Peter murders him. That said, I'm a little hesitant to count this one fully since the whole thing exists mainly in an ad for Nike. But just 2 episodes after this, we find out Peter has a secret gay boyfriend. But the references to Peter being gay doesn't stop there. Because a season after this, in the episode Cutaway Land, Peter and Lois discover that they can teleport anywhere in the world. And where do they both go? To Tom Brady's locker room.
It's just as big as you want it to be, but not so big that it's gonna distract him.
Also in season 19's La Famiglia Guy, Peter sets up his mafia headquarters in a male strip club of all places. And most recently, in the newest season, Lois and Bonnie announced that they were gay and were a couple. And to give them a taste of their own medicine, Peter and Joe have sex. So when the show keeps returning to Peter liking men over and over and over again, it stops being a random gag and becomes a part of his character.
Guys, we have to fix this. Marrying each other was a huge mistake. It was?
Aside from the episode Family Gay, these scenes of Peter's attraction towards men are just quick gags and play no real big role in the episodes. And it could be interesting if a future episode touched more on Peter's bisexuality. But to be honest, I don't really see that happening, and I imagine it will continue to be nothing more than a running joke. And interestingly, this mirrors Lois in a lot of ways. The show has always made it clear that Lois is attracted to women. And honestly, I think the Family Guy writers just really love a gay joke.
I thought I read you guys were phasing out gay jokes.
That quote was taken out of context and widely misunderstood.
So now I've perhaps convinced you of Peter's pretty consistent affinity for men, let's rewind and look at the other women that he's dated over the show. In the season 6 episode Stewie Kills Lois, Stewie kills, well, Lois. And thinking that his wife is dead, Peter tries to move on by getting back into the dating scene, with his first date being a cancer patient.
Not cancer of the vagina, is it? Here, have some more wine.
His second date was with a stick figure.
I can't do sex, but I can give you a stick job.
That sounds...
Yes, it is very unpleasant.
And if that's not awkward enough, his other date was with Bonnie.
No, it's okay. I promise you it's okay.
I'm not sure.
It's okay, Peter.
Ultimately, Peter didn't really date these people because Stewie was in a simulation the entire time. Even still though, Peter and Bonnie did hook up again in the non-canon Great Gatsby parody High School English.
Don't tell anyone how bad I look naked. Have fun raising my bastard.
And while it wasn't sexual, Peter still went behind Lois's back by cheating on her cooking with Bonnie's food in the episode Cootie and the Blowhard. And even though it's played for laughs, there's still that familiar sexual undertone here.
Okay, fine, but we gotta do this quick, right here against the wall.
And as we'll get into later, the quickest way to Peter's heart is always through food. Oh yeah, and very recently in the Family Guy Christmas special, Peter's in a relationship with Bonnie. But then again, it doesn't count because it's a totally separate thing. Peter would have his first proper affair, if you can call it that, in season 8 Family Guy. So while drinking at the Drunken Clam, it's love at first sight when he spots a cardboard cutout of Kathy Island. He immediately takes her home and starts getting freaky, even bringing her into the shower. And it isn't just sexual, because Peter treats this thing like a real relationship. He takes her out to restaurants, shows her off, and that's where Lois finally catches him, leading Peter into dramatically declaring his love for Kathy.
You're an idiot.
My lawyer will call your lawyer.
But then Lois breaks the news that Chris took the cardboard cutout to his room, and he confronts Kathy and, in a fit of rage, accidentally tears her head off.
Why did you have to provoke me?
So with Kathy out of the picture, Peter comes crawling back to Lois. Except the story doesn't fully end there, because in season 17's Throw It Away, it's revealed that Peter has been hiding the cardboard cutout of Kathy in a storage locker this entire time, which honestly makes it seem that the affair never really stopped. So can this even count as an affair? Because Kathy was just a cardboard cutout and Lois clearly didn't care, but I'd still say yes. Because the intent was there, and more importantly, Kathy was real in Peter's eyes.
I have an announcement to make. No, I'll do it.
And I would like it. What would I say if James brought home a cardboard cutout, started getting freaky with it and introducing it to my kid? I'd be weirded out, but I'd also be pretty angry. Peter would go on to have yet another random affair just one season later in Trading Places. After Peter wins a dirt bike, it completely takes over his personality, and that somehow includes him getting a dirt bike girlfriend.
I'm a dirt bike guy now, so I need a dirt bike girlfriend. Yeah, she has small breasts, but she makes up for it by smoking.
And once again, Lois doesn't treat this seriously at all.
Peter, she has to leave. We're having dinner.
Now I actually find it funny when you compare Peter and Lois's extramarital affairs, because of how wildly different they are. When Lois strays is usually grounded in some kind of emotional frustration. She almost sleeps with her daughter's boyfriend, tries to hook up with Justin Bieber, and even kisses Peter's son Larry, and almost every time is sparked by Lois feeling underappreciated or ignored by Peter. Peter's affairs, on the other hand, are completely unhinged. He has a full-blown romance with a cardboard cutout. He also sleeps with multiple men after getting the gay gene, which I wouldn't even count as cheating since his DNA was literally altered, and then there's the whole secret family thing where he's essentially living as a wife.
Who's hungry?
Yeah, Mommy's home!
Hello, dear.
So compared to Lois, Peter's affairs aren't emotional or dramatic. They're just hilariously absurd.
And your wife is this piece of pie?
You got it. Love you.
Now, this could be for a few reasons, but it mostly comes down to character roles in sitcom traditions. Peter's affairs are quick, ridiculous gags because he's written as impulsive and morally disposable.
Surfing bird is gone. I took it to bed, had sex with it, it fell asleep in my arms, and this morning it's gone.
Lois, on the other hand, is the more grounded moral center, so if she cheats, it has to be framed as more emotionally motivated. Overall, Peter's cheating doesn't threaten the show's status quo because we expect him to act erratic and crazy. Saying that, Peter would emotionally fall for another woman in season 11's Call Girl. And when I say another woman, I mean Lois. Because when she gets a job at a phone sex hotline to earn some extra cash, Peter calls up when he starts feeling ignored by Lois.
You want to see some pictures that I drew?
Sure.
This is me on an elephant.
Peter starts opening up to Classy while not realizing that he's actually talking to his own wife. Peter soon falls for this mysterious woman and arranges to meet her. So wanting to catch him out, Lois puts on a disguise and meets him at a motel.
Doesn't make any sense, but it felt like some force in the universe wanted us together.
And Peter gets so emotionally raw with Lois that she actually goes through with it, and they have sex. It's only then does Lois reveal the truth and call out his cheating. But Peter manages to worm out of it by saying that deep down, he really knew it was her.
Don't you see, Lois? I fell in love with you all over again.
Now, this is the first and perhaps only time where Peter's affair is taken seriously, and even then, it's not technically cheating because it's his own wife. And at the end of the day, it did bring them closer together.
It just proves that we're truly meant to be together.
Oh, I love you, Peter.
Next, let's talk about Evelyn. So in season 12's Mum's the Word, Peter's mother passes. So feeling lonely, he becomes friendly with his mum's old friend and starts seeing her like a second mother, and it's totally innocent until Evelyn comes on to Peter.
Come on, are you molesting me or watching TV?
Peter immediately tells Lois about this, and she advises him that he goes back to Evelyn to clear up the misunderstanding. Evelyn apologizes and blames the kiss on her meds. Despite this though, Evelyn keeps making unwanted advances, including the classic popcorn over the trick. And while Peter's getting a massage, she even lays under the table and lowers his head between her legs, which is just so gross. So finally fed up, Peter ends the friendship. Later on, Peter goes to his mum's grave and Evelyn shows up to apologise again. She admits that she was lonely and took advantage of the attention that she was getting. The two make up and hug, only for Peter to accidentally snap her spine. Now, I wasn't sure whether or not to include Evelyn in this video about Peter's love life since he was essayed by her. And there's no romantic feelings on his part, but still, this made me realise something really dark. Peter being essayed is kind of a recurring joke in the show. Now I have to be super careful with my words here because YouTube is very sensitive. So there was Angela in season 8's Peter assessment, then there was the Bull in season 8's Dial Meg for Murder. Then you have a cutaway of Peter as a strawberry.
Now I'll never end up in a fancy pie!
And hell, even his own wife forced herself on him. Then you had Meg walking in on him in the shower and stuffing a freaking loofah inside of him. And that's hardly the end of it, because in one episode, the steam from a steaming pie forced itself onto him too.
It's making me watch!
There was also the Peter catcher. And there's also been a few jokes about Peter being essayed when he was a... And there's quite a few other examples too, and I didn't really realise how much Family Guy writers love adding the whole Peter getting R-worded thing as a joke. And I don't easily get offended because, come on, I basically run a Family Guy and American Dad channel, but seeing the overwhelmingly sheer amount of times that they repeated this joke with Peter is really disturbing and very gross. And just to be clear, I certainly don't count any of these as being part of Peter's love life. It's just something I realised during my research while doing this video, and I had to mention how odd it is. But what do I expect from a show that included a scene with Quagmire for Marge just because The Simpsons made a teeny tiny jab at Family Guy? So let's move past the uncomfortableness and talk about Gretchen. In season 14's Take a Letter, Lois gets a job working at the post office, and it's here where she discovers a letter from Peter addressed to a woman called Gretchen, and it was from before their wedding. Lois decides to finally deliver the letter to this mysterious woman, and after reading it, Gretchen tells Lois that the letter simply said that Peter was getting married, so nothing to worry about. But in reality, the letter actually revealed that Peter was having doubts about the wedding.
Well, my answer is yes, Peter. Yes, I will marry you!
Peter tries to let her down, but she blackmails him.
Blackmail! Thank you, Cleveland.
They go out to a cafe, and once again Peter insists that he doesn't have any feelings for her anymore. Gretchen says that she understands and invites him to a concert for an innocent friendly catch-up, and they go together, but Peter instantly feels guilty and leaves.
That's my Peter.
You know, from Angie to Gretchen, Peter sure makes women last after him all these years later. So yes, as soon as Peter gets home, she sends him a very ominous message.
I'm taking care of our problem. We'll be together soon. Love, Gretchen.
So Peter rushes to the post office just in time to find Gretchen pulling a gun on Lois. She reveals the truth that Peter had doubts about the wedding, but Peter admits that he was just scared because he thought that Lois was too good for him. So Lois dumps Peter on the spot there and tells Gretchen that she can have him. Turns out that this was a ruse though, because when Gretchen lets her guard down, Lois knocks her out. And then Peter and Lois go and end up having sex in a P.O. box.
Box 528?
Yes, 528.
All right, just reach in and grab it.
And that's the last we've seen of Gretchen. Honestly, I think she could really work as a great returning villain. Kind of similar to Marge's old ex, Artie Ziff from The Simpsons. Maybe. So yeah, Peter may not seem like some grand prize, but the women go absolutely crazy for him, and Gretchen's hardly the last woman who gets obsessed with Peter. In season 20's All About Alana, Lois is teaching piano to an old student called Alana. She dreams of going to Juilliard but can't afford the tuition, so Lois hires her to help around the house for some extra money, and Alana quickly wins over the entire family with some nachos and tacos. Alana loves taking care of the Griffins and even starts to fantasize about taking over Lois's life, and to snake her way in, she tries to seduce Peter in some sexy underwear.
Santa? I can almost see your bum through your nightgown.
But the real way to Peter's heart is by cooking him a 5-course meal. Lois soon catches on and gives Alana money to go away, but Alana uses it to hire hitmen to take her out. And just as Lois thinks that she finally got rid of her, Alana is back the next day, dressed exactly like her. Lois warns her that when she's back from shopping, she wants her gone. But while running errands, Lois is kidnapped and thrown off a cliff, and Alana fakes a note.
Dear family, I've decided to leave you all and become a lesbian.
Wait, we can just do that?
Realizing he's all alone and has to make dinner for the family, Peter decides to marry Alana.
You're the love of my life, yada yada yada, I'm hungry.
But before it's made official, Lois smashes into the church and reveals the truth about Alana. Alana admits it all, saying that she was just jealous of Lois's perfect life.
I've never seen a man love his wife as much as Peter loves you.
God, you need to get out more.
With the real Lois back to cook the family's food, Peter quickly discards Alana and she's arrested. At the end of the day, Peter didn't really care for Alana at all. He just liked her cooking. It wasn't really sexual. Both Gretchen and Alana show a pattern in Peter's relationships. He's not driven by lust or romantic interest. He's just kind of impulsive. But no matter what, he always ends up back with Lois. It's kind of proof that underneath all these ridiculous antics, there's actually some loyalty and attachment there. And perhaps that's why women keep falling for him. And this is backed up by his next quote-unquote romantic interest, Becky, from season 21's Single White Dad. When Peter breaks Lois's foot during a game of real Donkey Kong, he's forced to step up as a responsible parent. This includes taking care of Stewie. Peter starts getting attention from other mothers, and he basically lies and says that he's a widower so he can score some free stuff.
I'll never forget her last words. Get free extra whipped cream on your Frappuccino.
When Peter takes Stewie to a park, all the mums are shocked to see a dad changing a diaper. And while they're having a picnic, a mum called Becky comes over and invites them to a play date.
I can make some lunch, fire up the bounce house.
We'll do it.
With the promise of food, Peter goes over to Becky's and she's instantly charmed by him. Peter and Becky continue their date/play date, and while Becky has clearly fallen for him, Peter is only interested in her sandwiches.
It's rare that you can relate to someone on a deeper level like we can.
I love the way you cut sandwiches.
That's when she kisses a totally oblivious Peter. Peter tries to do the right thing by texting her to break things off politely, but as soon as he hits send, Becky shows up at his door. So now Peter has to make sure that she doesn't run into Lois. But of course, his worst nightmare comes true when they meet face to face.
I cannot believe this, Peter. You've been lying to me? I thought we had something.
Once again, this is another episode where a woman falls head over heels for Peter and he's completely oblivious. He doesn't feel anything sexual for Becky. He's just thinking about the sandwiches. And you have to admire that about the big guy. Especially when you compare him to Lois, who, as I discussed in her Love Life video, is constantly juggling multiple affairs. Finally, there's one woman that I haven't mentioned, and that's Sofia Vergara. In season 16's Emmy's Guide, the show parodies award-winning shows like Modern Family, and Lois has been replaced with Sofia.
Forget the freaking Emmy. If you touch her ass, I will.
But because this is a totally separate thing, it doesn't really count. But I knew I'd get comments saying that I'd forgotten her, so there you go. And there we have it, that is the complete love life of Peter so far. So whose love life should I do next? Let me know in the comments below. And also, don't forget to order my novel Script to Screen today.